and welcome back to Ride Rescue. In this episode of the Buick build, I'm going to send out all the chrome and then do a little minor customizing to the chrome to just take this car up to a higher level than just the stock. Originally I planned on taking all the chrome back to stock. Some of the parts have some highlights that are painted in a kind of a silvery color. But I wanted to do something different and special to the car. Over the years, probably 6 or 7 years that I've been working on this car, I've been shopping and looking and hoping for a really good grill. I was really struggling to find a decent grill. I did find a grill on eBay for $10 that was super straight but had horrible chrome on it. But it didn't look like it had any pitting. It was just faded, rust residued chrome. It looked like some car that had been sitting in a swamp with all the residue of rust that had been dripping off of the hood. And amazingly, when the chrome shop dipped that pot metal grill and stripped off all the old chrome and residue, it was perfect underneath. There was no pits. So that grill ended up being a fantastic investment. I had bought other grills and paid a lot of money for them, and every one of them had heavy pits that were going to take many, many hours of filling and sanding. So I got lucky on the grill. When it came to the tail panel, I couldn't find one that was perfect. I did find one that only had a few pits in it. My chrome shop, as much as I don't want to name names, I will say it is in northern Utah. So beware. They do excellent chrome, but on my custom bumpers, they took them back to stock, so that was very disappointing. I also had some chrome panels, some pot metal work that they did for me. The taillight bars, they had some pits in them. For some reason, not only did they fill the pits, but they changed the shape. They ruined them. Luckily, I had another set, so I had to take these back in and say, look what you did, guys. The ends of these are supposed to be straight. You bent them out. You can see that in these pictures. So I had to have them do those chrome bars again. And like I say, luckily I had another set that they could redo. The taillights turned out great. The tail panel itself, they ground it down instead of filling the pits. So they completely changed the original shape of that tail panel. So I had to go back and do some heavy-duty priming, sanding and priming. I thought for sure it was going to ruin the chrome on it, but like they've said, well, we'll do it again. Well, you can't do it again if you ruin it. I would have had to found another tail panel for them to go about re-chroming. So I did some sanding. I ground out the chrome down the center of it and started experimenting with some different primer. You can see in the one picture there's a step where they sanded and it put a step mark in it. So I had to fill that. So I was really disappointed in some aspects of the chrome. But the rear view mirrors were beautiful. The grille was beautiful. There's some U-shaped pieces that go around the taillights. Those were in mint condition other than the fact that the chrome was faded. So those turned out fantastic. They redid the front bumper for me, but because of all the issues that I had, they ended up redoing all of my chrome, and I had a total finished chrome bill of $2,200. That was the original bumpers, the rework, and then all the pot metal. So I felt pretty good in the end. It saved me thousands of dollars on chrome, but if you've got some really rare parts, yeah, I would stay away from them, because if they ruin a rare part and you're shopping for another one, it's not a good situation to be in. All of the stainless trim on the car, the trim around the windows, the trim along the tops of the doors, a lot of that stuff is repop and aftermarket. I found a really good set of trim for my windows. It just needed to be polished. The tops of the doors just needed to be polished. The trim that went around the back window and the window well, those were ruined. I did find a set of repops from a GTO, so I was able to buy those. It was $165 for the repop. So all the trim on the car is perfect. The wing window chrome trim was excellent shape, but all the rubber was completely hard and cracked. So I did take those apart and put all new rubber around those, and then I will buy all new rubber for the doors and bump stops and everything that way too for the car as I put it all back together. So as I'm doing some little custom touches, I'm trying to decide what I want to do with the headlights. I want something that was new and modern. I found a set of halo headlights that not only did they have the headlights, but it had the aftermarket bulbs. So a higher, brighter bulb. You can see in the picture, it does give off a reflection of blue. I don't know if I really like that blue reflection, but it did show that I'd gone beyond just the standard headlights. It did have that custom look. I wanted to go with LED fixtures in the taillights, and I couldn't find anything that fit that car that wasn't built specifically for the car. I was thinking about taking a risk with some Chevelle taillight LEDs when I stumbled onto boat trailer LEDs that I thought, well, they were fairly inexpensive from Harbor Freight. I figured I could play around with those and see if I could modify them to get them to fit in the car, and hopefully they would work and I wouldn't have to risk. Some of the Chevelle stuff was really expensive. There were hundreds of dollars. I think I spent about $55 on the Harbor Freight parts, and lo and behold, with a little bit of grinding on the edges, they fit right in. The taillights on this car have always been a problem. I get people pulling up next to me all the time when we're going to car shows saying, hey, your brake light's out on this side, or your taillight's not working on that side. They're always an issue. So I was hoping that going with these LEDs would solve those problems. So as I'm playing around with these LEDs and I'm putting the lens on and off, I had to grind a little bit on the inside of the lenses to get everything to fit right. And as I'm sanding on these taillights, the original residue, and there was some cracks and some, just a poor finish from age on these taillights. I was going to buy a set of new old taillight lenses. I saw them available now and then. They were kind of expensive, but they were still available. So I just started sanding on these taillights, figuring I can't hurt them, I'm not going to use them, or I'm going to make them look really custom, and I am going to use them. So I sanded them down with 600 grit sandpaper and sanded out all the ridges, all the little imperfections and age marks, discolorations, and they came out really nice. So then I started thinking, well, if I just clear coat them, then I can give them a high gloss, perfect shine again, versus polishing them. And if I'm going to clear coat them, if I use the color that I used for the bottom side of the car for my Foose Fade, I could do the same thing to the chrome panels, the grille, the surrounds around the headlights, and the taillight covers, where I could go with a real nice custom finish and do a translucent color like I did on the sides of the car. And maybe, just maybe, I could come up with something really unique. So I primed the grille, masked everything off, masked and primed all the parts for the tail panel, everything that I wanted to do some color accents, and then I mixed up my clear with just a tint, just a slight tint of the gray that I used for the dark charcoal gray along the bottom of the car. I started with the taillights and I just mist it over with the clear, and then I would pull it up to the light and I could see that it was giving it a little bit of a tint. It wasn't changing how much light was going through, but it was still showing a lot of red. So I put about 3-4 coats of tinted clear on the taillights, and they went completely the color that I was wanting, but yet it was still transparent and the light shone through like the plastic was colored that color of that tinted gray. So I was really excited. So I sprayed the grille and all the other areas, the tail panel areas, with the silver, gray, the dark gray color that I had, and then did the same clear tint, that tinted clear that I used on the tail lights, and went over all those panels with that same tint. So everything blended all across the back of the car, and then had the same contrast and look and feel throughout the rest of the car, with the grille and the headlight bezels. It really turned out good. I was very excited. By using that same tinted clear that I used on the taillights across the panel section, it just made that whole panel area all look the same tint, same color. And then I did the same thing with the grille, the background of the grille, and the accents around the headlight bezels, all in that same tint and color. And it just really gave a nice custom finish to all the trim. So now's the point of this car of starting to really put everything together. Putting on all the trim on the car, getting the taillights to work, getting the headlights to work, putting on the stainless, and getting everything ready for the top as well as for the interior. So I want to get the car out. I mean, I'm anxious now, so I want to build some front seats for the car, and I've been shopping for some different ideas for seats. And on the next video, I'll show you the seats that I came up with. So once I got a couple of bucket seats ready for the car, of course I had to take it to a show. So I took it to one of the local shows, and I'll go over that in the next video. Go over the seats and the award that I won. Little hint, the award that I won for its very first show that the car was in, and it wasn't even finished yet. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you watching my videos. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Please share it. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a like. Thanks again for watching.